Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Zero to Empire podcast. I have in this episode Jeremy Van Wert, and he's actually going to be talking to us about his mindful immunity business and what actually his whole journey and everything about that. So, with my first question to you, Jeremy, what actually inspired you to start that business?
I've been a licensed marriage and family therapist for a really long time. And what I've found as I have gone through working with many different types of people is that there is a hole in the market of really, really highly qualified people that don't just simply look at one aspect of life. There's a lot of people out there that look at just your business, look at just your personal life. And therapy is very much a process your feelings kind of thing. There are pastors and spiritualists that look only at the spiritual part of life, but we are multifaceted beings and we have to be that way. And so the many different experiences that I've had in my life with balancing the different parts of myself, from ADHD to spirituality to my own business, and all of this, going from being a lobby security officer to a CEO, I know that there's so much more to the human being than just simply processing feelings and releasing them. And so the mindful mutiny business that I'm running right now is about dealing with the holistic human being in all of the different aspects of life and helping people gain that kind of higher level of functioning for themselves. And so I bring to the market a very, very specialized set of different skills, from business to personal to emotional to spirituality to psychedelics and physical health, that helps people really be able to get to peak performance in many, many different aspects of life.
Yeah, that's quite a journey. So, what was actually the moment that made you realize traditional therapy wasn't enough?
So it's my first mushroom trip, actually. It was when I went deeply into a really strong change of consciousness, recognizing that therapy is fantastic. It's a really great way to help people process feelings, but there is so much more to our consciousness than simply, let's just say, person walks in with a trauma. Okay. That trauma is the trauma itself. It's the feelings. It is the injury to the heart. It's the injury to the spirit. It's the injury to the self-esteem. And that person needs to process those feelings. They also need the accountability in the path forward that's going to help them feel like they're actually obtaining something going forward into what they want to be now, stepping into a new version of themselves. So I help people set goals. I help people process old things. I help people with going into a new version of who it is that they are, and not just simply processing old things. And so the moment that I recognized, really saw all of the different aspects of me, all of the different ways in which this world affects me personally, in my heart, in my soul, spiritually, everything else, I could see the ways in which traditional therapy does a really good job in certain aspects, but also is exceedingly hands off in other areas. And with coaching, I'm able to tie in all of these different things to help somebody holistically in many different aspects of their lives.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when it comes to helping professionals that are stuck in their careers, what's usually holding them back?
Gosh, there's really a number of different things. I'm just going to kind of go with the top three here. Do you have anxiety that is changing the way that you view what your potential is? Do you have some old idea about what you are that's creating a roadblock, which can be an old trauma, it can be old abuse, it can be any number of these different things. But many of the things that hold people back in business is a lack of courage and self-belief. And many people figure out the system. You figure out the system of how to do really well in school, which means that you're probably going to be a very good corporate employee. But you're out of balance with yourself when you're forcing yourself into doing something for a living that doesn't resonate with the mark that you want to leave in this world. I work with a lot of people who have those really dreaded golden handcuffs on, and those are really hard to let go of because it's very comfortable to make a lot of money, have a good retirement savings plan, and also have a, good health care. Those things are wonderful. Is it something that's actually serving you in your life? Is this something that are you going to be able to do this for another 15 years? There's a lot of people that I work with who, for instance, it's a physician who works for a hospital. They feel uninspired by the work that they're doing because they have to churn through people so quickly. They're diagnosing and treating people in 2 minutes and 30 seconds and moving on. And it's not a particularly fulfilling way to do the work. And so, is there a way to help that person rebalance their business, use their licensure to be able to actually get what they want out of their careers? And so we evaluate what the values are, what their mission statement for their life is, and talk about what's possible.
Yeah, making a positive impact on a good amount of people. That's great to hear. And when it comes to the misconception people have about executive coaching, what are some?
Well, I can tell you one of the things that makes me really unique is that a lot of it's actually very common in the coaching community to say, I'm a CEO, I'm a CEO. A lot of people have the little CEO hats and everything like that, and that's cool. But there's a difference between that kind of CEO and somebody who's actually sat on top of a company. And there's a difference in the level of demand. There's a difference in what it does to you. And I'm different because I've actually done that. I ran a company with 200 employees, and there's a special kind of stress that goes on for that person. Those 80-hour work weeks, knowing that anything goes wrong and you're going to get scapegoated, knowing that it doesn't matter how hard you work, people are still going to mistrust you, dislike you, and there's people sitting around you who would just assume slit your throat and take your position. That's a lot of pressure coming in from a lot of different areas of the world for the executive. And so having somebody who's actually been there and done that, understands that world, who can actually speak into it, it's a very, very unique set of skills. Because I remember what it was like. I would sleep in a bus in the back of the parking lot. I would come in and shower in the headquarters of the organization, sit at my desk all day long, eat at my desk, order DoorDash, and do meeting after meeting after meeting. That level of stress is a kind of stress that it creates panic. It can create difficulties in relationships. A lot of people who are at the executive level are thinking things like, what substance do I need that is going to help me work all night long so that I can get all of this stuff done? Those are crazy thoughts when you think about them from the normal person perspective, but those are not off the table when you're an executive with all of that pressure on you, knowing that it really is all up to you. So working with people who are at the executive level, number one, it's understanding the kind of pressure that they're under. And number two, helping them within the context of that understand the value of them beyond the title, beyond the responsibility, beyond the projection that they feel that they have to be in order for other people to buy into what they're doing and respect them. And being able to speak into it from the perspective of having been there. And what is this actually worth in your life? Are you going in the right direction? Is this actually the most effective way to do this? And a lot of people who are at that executive level, they tend to not offload any of their work to other people. And so sometimes it can be an issue where you're doing more work than you need to, and you need to restructure how it is that you do your work, because you have to defer some of your work to other people, or you're just going to simply exhaust yourself more quickly.
Yeah, and it's definitely very inspirational that you went through all this, that you slept on the bus, which is wild to be honest. But you made it happen. You did it, and now you've gone through that personal experience so that you can help people in your program. And what's actually been valuable for your clients in the coaching program that you offer?
So a lot of people, particularly with people who are ADHD, people love structure. And we all have coaches when we're early in our life, our volleyball coaches, our marching band coaches, our football coaches. And those people help push you because they hold you accountable. You wouldn't just do the burpees if you didn't have somebody telling you got to do this many burpees, right? So there's a certain part in our life where we buy into the concept that a coach is really going to help us. And then we kind of let go of that. The executive coach is somebody that can help hold you accountable to a structure. And what I do is I help people build a strategic plan, like a company would for the vision of the company for your life. Okay, that means what are your values? Have you ever thought about that? What is your mission statement? And what are the different aspects of your life? And where are you overbalanced? It's very, very common for people who are high achievers, lawyers, doctors, executives, to be way overbalanced in the professional part of their lives. And so their relationships tend to go to hell. There tends to be substance abuse things to either keep you moving during work time or help you relax on your off time. And there goes your body. So making that strategic plan for how you spend the hours in your day, all of the ways in which you need to restructure and reorganize how you do your work and your life, and somebody to help hold you accountable that is non-judgmental and understands the things that you've gone through, the way in which old trauma is informing the way that you're responding to certain things, and helping you question why it is that you continue behavior that you know is destructive to you, and how do you back out of something when you feel like you're kind of all in.
Accountability definitely makes sense when you're trying to get a coach and get stuff done. Because it definitely helps to have somebody watching out for you, making sure you're getting everything like on track. So when it comes to the transformations that you've seen that have gone from your program, what's one of the best or biggest transformations you've seen thus so far that comes to your head?
Yeah, a lot of people have their own entrepreneurial pursuit. I had a person who was a real estate agent, a very successful one. She had built a kind of a real estate empire, and it had a great deal of value. And she's looking in her life at wanting to move on to another set of challenges in her life. And she needed somebody who is going to help her remain focused and accountable to getting to that next space. And so, this wonderful business that she had, real estate, it's not only making the plan for how to do the switch over for selling that business, who comes next, but also how do we hold ourselves accountable to the things that we need to do to form the next business. And for her, it was writing a book, putting together a consulting business. What are the branding things that need to happen? Because somebody who has some issues with attention span, those people tend to be very creative, very, very fast to act on many different things. The bad side of that is that whatever's in your face right now is the thing that you're going to act on. You don't prioritize the things in your life. You act on the most recent email, the most recent phone call, the most recent issue. And that's not a strategy for success because you're not looking at the bigger picture. So helping this person be able to stay focused on the high level and be able to get done the big strategic things was able to get this person to move much more quickly and much more organized towards starting that consulting business, taking the action. And when you're doing this, you feel such a sense of actually building something, and you don't feel like crap at the end of the week because you're so busy managing the old business stuff that you didn't take any of the action on the new business stuff. And so the accountability, the understanding, the structure of everything was able to help her move really quickly into tangible steps towards the new thing that she wanted to be doing.
Yeah, I love the transformation for her. And when it actually comes to keeping her accountable as well as other clients, how do you go about that with them?
There's a lot of meeting between the meetings, and that's often like a lot of like texting. And there's a structure, a checklist of to do items that, boy, it feels good to cross things off of a list, right? Particularly if it has a noise like ding, ding, ding. So having a specific structured to-do list every single week can really help with a feeling of accomplishment. And the talks in between the sessions about, I felt stuck on this thing and I don't really know why. And you can usually draw a parallel from what somebody's stuck on to some kind of roadblock that they have in their mind, some kind of thing that they tend to get stuck on. And so processing those things, learning from those things. And so that when that comes up again in the future and I'm not around, you go, oh yeah, I process this thing with Jeremy that I tend to avoid projects that are like this, that have this kind of thing.
Yeah, that's super solid. And for those who are listening that feel stuck in their career, what's the first thing they should do?
Number one, give me a call. Go to mindfulmutiny.com. But in feeling stuck, oftentimes there's this kind of like blockage where it feels very fuzzy. Why am I stuck in this? Oftentimes the person who has like some focus issue or has a lot going on feels overwhelmed. There's like this tornado going on in your head around you. What you'll find is that you're kind of outside of your consciousness and you're not thinking in the moment. You're thinking about the concept of overwhelm. Maybe that word overwhelm comes to you not as the word overwhelm. Maybe it comes as a dark cloud. Maybe it comes as a fire. Maybe it comes as a feeling in your chest. But when you identify, oh, that dark cloud, that started 3 weeks ago. That started when this thing happened. Or this started a year ago. That started when this thing happened. And I don't know how to climb that mountain. Coming to yourself with number one, get some mindfulness going, get some daily meditation going, just 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the afternoon to refocus yourself. It can also do oodles and oodles of good for you to create a personal management system. If you don't already have one that's very, very detailed, I'm using Notion, and you can create this whole thing that has daily goals, overall goals, link it with your calendar, create templates, all of this different stuff. It takes a while to build this sort of thing, but boy, you feel like $1,000,000 when you've got your whole life really managed in this kind of way and you go, my God, I've got it under control. I would tell that person to start by stopping, evaluating where these feelings are coming from, and start by organizing everything. Even if you have to put work on hold for some amount of like a day or two to really get into what are the big things that are really standing in your way from next space that you need to go, and why is that stuff standing in your way?
Yeah, that's very important advice and very like I meditate myself every day. So it's very good to be mindfulness, of course. And where can actually people find you and learn more about your coaching?
Sure. So you can go to the YouTube channel Mindful Mutiny. That's where my podcast is. I talk a lot about ADHD. I talk a good deal about psychedelics. I interview people who are doing amazing things with their lives. And mindfulmutiny.com is where you can go find out more about who I am, what I do, and what I can do for you.
That's perfect. Feel free to reach out to him and get started with his coaching. It'd be a lot of help as he's helped a lot of people, including that real estate agent that he discussed earlier in this episode. And for everyone that's watching in or listening in, I'll see you on the next episode of Zero to Empire. Thank you.